What did the Thorn say when the apartment ran out of ammo? Don't worry, I'll wallpaper them for you. Ha ha, D.a.g joke of the day. What's going on, D.a.g? Today I have a close quarter build using the Apartment SMG and the Thorn shotgun. With the loadout that I'm using, you're going to get so much weapon damage and amplified damage that is going to make both these guns hit like trucks. This combo doesn't need suppressors. It specializes in open house massacres. Yeah. You're going to be redecorating the battlefield, D.a.gs. Just try not to break the lease. I'm going to be utilizing a technician drone comboed with microwave coils to give us plenty of crowd control and amplified damage, while our Invarnable shield is going to keep us alive when we're right in front of the enemies. For this loadout, you have to play within 15 meters to fully optimize the damage you can do. So this might not be the build for you, but it's definitely a whole lot of fun to play. You're going to run through content solo while still holding your own in group play. Challenging or heroic, it don't matter. You're just going to wipe the field. I'm going full legit glass cannon mode, going all reds with the glass cannon talent, guaranteeing I could take out anything that comes my way. When playing this build, you're definitely going to want to try to go into close quarter type of missions or encounters, doing the control points you're comfortable with, and doing open world activities like public execution, rescue operations, and bounties. You could play against any of the factions safely except for Black Tusk. The biggest weakness of this build is how squishy you are and how dependent you are going to be on that Invarnable shield. And with Black Tusk having multiple ways to disrupt you, you definitely want to avoid them because you're going to be left standing there with nothing to protect you. If you're new to the channel, welcome to d.a.g Gaming. I'm your host Nox, where my favorite thing to do is respawn. And this build fits perfectly with my motto. Now that I gave you my 2 cents, let's get right into the build. Starting off with the specialization, I'm going with Sharpshooter to give me access to my favorite skill this season, the Technician Drone. Plus the stability, recoil reduction, and target requisitioning is going to be very beneficial to the Apartment and the Thorn. Starting with the primary, we're going with the Apartment. I have it rolled with damage to target out of cover, and also peeped at optimal range of 37. It comes with a talent perfectly measured, where the top half of your magazine is going to give you rate of fire with damage reduction, but the bottom half is going to give you less rate of fire reduction while giving you 38% total weapon damage. Comboed with the rate of fire you get from Rogue Momentum, plus the rate of fire we're going to get from the Centurion holster. This thing's going to be rapid fire while dishing out some serious damage. And these are the mods I have equipped for the Apartment. For the secondary, I have the Named Thorn, also peeped at optimal range. I have mine rolled with damage to target out of cover. It comes with the talent Perfect Brazen, where as long as 4 pellets hit, you're going to get an extra 8% amplified damage, plus each pellet is going to give you 3.5% amplified damage, allowing you to do some massive damage and one-shotting enemies. This thing's even going to eat up chungas. For the sidearm, I have the PvP exclusive Orbit, also peeped the optimal range, and I also have it with damage to targets out of cover. It comes with the talent Perfect Finisher that a lot of people sleep on. When you kill an enemy, you get a 15-second buff that gives you 35% critical hit chance and 40% critical hit damage. You can easily set up enemies to get a kill shot with the Orbit, and when you swap back to your primary or secondary, you're going to get those massive buffs for 15 seconds. And those are the 2 mods that I have for it. For my first armor piece, I have the Centurion Scabbard. It comes with weapon handling, critical hit chance, and it comes with the talent counter, and it comes with 2 different buffs for your primary and secondary weapon, and it doesn't have a cooldown. So you can swap freely between your guns, constantly proccing those buffs. Say the Apartment has the 50% magazine size, 50% reload, but you want the damage and rate of fire. All you have to do is quickly swap to your sidearm and then back to the Apartment, and it's going to swap around the bus. For the knee pads, I have 1 pallet size for the 10% armor on kill, and I have it with double crit. For the chest piece, I have 1 group hold double crit with a 12% critical hit damage armor mod. And I went with the Talon Glass Cannon to give me that 25% amplified damage to all sources. Just be careful, you're also going to take 50% incoming damage. If you don't like playing with Glass Cannon, you could also use Obliterate in its place, or whatever other talent that you enjoy using. For the backpack, I'm using the named Legatus Vigil. I have it with weapon handling, critical hit damage, and a critical hit damage armor mod. And because I'm running 3 pieces, I'm going to get 30% swap speed, 70% optimal range, and 15% weapon damage. It comes with the Talent Perfect Versatile, which is going to give us massive amplified damage, especially because we're using the SMG and a shotgun. And to get this talent to work, you have to use 2 different category types of weapons, meaning you can't use 2 SMGs. That's why I'm going with the Apartment and the Thorn. And when we proc it, we're going to get 45% amplified damage within meters with our shotguns and SMGs, which is massive. But keep in mind, you can only activate it once per 5 seconds per weapon type. For the gloves, I have my second piece of Legatus with critical hit damage and weapon handling. And finally, for the mask, I have my third piece of Legatus double crit with a critical hit damage armor mod. And here's all the pieces again in quick succession. Before we get to the skills, let's take a look at Rogue Momentum. If you look at the 5th tier Unstoppable and read the last sentence, you get skill overcharged. And what that means is it doesn't matter how many skill tiers you have, once you hit Unstoppable and overcharge your skills, you're going to instantly benefit from whatever buffs the skills get from being overcharged. And some skills even come with additional effects. And then on a side note, you want to make sure you take out blacklisted marked enemies, because when you do, you get a 15-second buff that gives you 10% weapon handling and critical hit chance. For the first skill, I have the Crusader's Shield, and because we're going to be constantly overcharged, we're going to get all those buffs for it, plus we're going to make the shield invulnerable. And when the shield's invulnerable, it's going to block all incoming damage. And these are the mods that I have for it. For my second skill, I have the Technician Drone. The drone is going to constantly pulse, and the pulse duration is super low. So when it's comboed with microwave coils, you're going to constantly apply burn, which is going to give us a lot of momentum and crowd control. And also when the drone's overcharged, we're also going to apply weakness exploit, where you and your allies' damage is amplified by 15% to pulse targets. And this is 15% amplified damage to all sources, to include the burn dead microwave coil supplies. And these are the mods that I have equipped for it. For the active modifier, you can use whichever one you want, it doesn't matter. For my first passive modifier, I have microwave coils. Comboed with the Technician Drone, we're going to constantly apply burn and get 5% bonus momentum each time. For our second passive modifier, I have Reaper's Scan, which is going to give us greater access to that blacklisted mark buff that lasts 15 seconds and gives us 10% weapon handling and critical hit chance. And finally, I have Critical Recovery, which is going to restore a little bit of our armor. As you can see, I decided to go with all red cores, and while we're in the field, we're going to constantly swap between the Apartment and the Thorn, making sure we always have the maximum buffs going for our setup and doing the most amount of damage. For the stats, I'm sitting at 55% critical hit chance, but that's going to go to cap once we have a blacklisted mark buff. For critical hit damage, I'm sitting at 174, but if we proc perfect finisher, we could get this up to 214%. We're getting 74,000 armor on kill to help us stay alive. And with the Thorn, we're sitting at 34% critical hit chance, but that can go up to 44%. Or we'll hit cap with the perfect finisher buff. For critical hit damage, the Thorn is sitting at 154, but it can go up to 194 with the perfect finisher buff. If you got any questions about this loadout and how it works, drop me a comment and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. And with the build out of the way, let's head to the shooting range, because I know you all love to see those big floaty damage numbers. Alrighty, we're at the range and I need to get me some momentum. So let's launch our Technician Drone and start applying burn and building up our momentum. And you can see it go up every time it lights enemies on fire. So right now on the Apartment, I don't have the right buff from the Centurion, so I'm going to swap to my sidearm and then back to the Apartment. Now I got the right buff to give me that bonus damage and a rate of fire. And here's the damage that you can expect to do with the Apartment. Doing over 1 million. Then with the Thorn, doing almost 2 million crits with the pallets. And here's the damage you're going to do to a pulse target. Doing 1.3 million. And with the Thorn, doing 2 million crits. That's pretty crazy. If you want to get some naughty damage, you could take out somebody with the orbit, and when you swap back to your gun, pulse them, you're going to be doing even more damage thanks to the extra critical hit damage. And another cool thing about the Centurion holster is that the one that you have the increased magazine size, you don't actually have to reload the gun. Because when you swap back to it, it's going to automatically reload it. So you could really use your shotgun, and when you're done using the shotgun and you're using the Apartment, the next time you swap back to the Thorn, it's going to be fully reloaded. And the same thing goes for the Apartment if you want to have a bigger magazine size for it, or if you want to do more damage for the Thorn, you can swap up the Centurion holster's buffs. So just pick whichever buff you want on which gun. Alrighty, DAGs, I hope you guys liked my close quartered amplified damage build. I know it's not the strongest and best, most optimized build, but I think it's a lot of fun, and it gives me some variety to my playstyle. Allow me to use some brand sets and guns and exotics that I normally don't. And that's what this game is all about, is making fun builds and playing them and having a good time. not always about having the most optimized build and squeezing out every bit of DPS that you can, and the game can be a lot more fun when you switch it up and try new builds. You'll never know if you like a certain build until you try it out. If you're subscribed to the channel, thank you for subscribing, and if you're not yet subscribed, please take a second to subscribe. That way you can stay up to date to all my upcoming videos. I want to say thank you to everybody who supports my new small channel. You guys are awesome. That's all for now, and I'll catch you at the next one. The opposite mission that this build is good at. What the hell? We both did the same thing. I'm gonna put up the door real quick. You know what? I got you. Eee! Go get solo. Yo!